Okay, we're live. Go ahead, Bernadette.
All right, good morning. My name is Bernadette Del Chiaro, and I am with the California Solar and Storage Association and in coalition partnership with Environment California Research and Policy Center. We are releasing today their latest report called Shining Cities 2020, the top US cities for solar energy. Environment California Research and Policy Center has for over a decade been tracking the amount of solar built in cities throughout the United States. And we're really pleased to join with them in highlighting the leadership that is happening toward clean energy at the local level, and hoping to inspire a race to the top between various cities throughout the United States in embracing clean, renewable, and resilient energy. I'd like to introduce my fellow speakers on today's call, today's event. We have Commission President, California Energy Commission President David Hochschild on the line here, who will be giving us a bird's eye view of the state's commitment to clean energy here in California and how we're doing. We also have a former state senator, Fran Pavley, well-regarded author and leader on air pollution and climate change legislation and initiatives, and with the Schwarzenegger Institute at University of Southern California. Welcome, Fran. And we also have Dan Jacobson, who's the Director of Environment California, one of California's largest citizen-run organizations working to protect the environment and promote clean energy, among other initiatives. So welcome everybody to today's event. We are live streaming on Facebook, and we appreciate all of you who are tuning in.
And Bernadette, I think I'm back, so if you can hear me.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's just get started right away. First of all, thank you to the Energy Foundation, the Arntz Family Foundation, the hundreds of thousands of members of Environment California, to the Commissioner of the Energy Commission, to Senator Fran Pavley, and the Executive Director of the California Solar and Storage Association. For any of the reporters that are out there listening, if you've got questions at the end of this, feel free to text me, and I'll say my cell phone number so you can text me. I will try to read those questions as time permits. And then if not, you can follow up individually, either with me or any of the individual speakers, and I'll be able to give you their name and contact information. So my cell phone number is 916-743-5356. 6 months ago, California celebrated the installation of its 1 millionth solar roof with two governors from different political parties as they toasted to the success of clean power in California. And that already seems like that was yesterday's news. And clearly the world has changed in many, many ways, and really in no way that anyone would have predicted in these past 5 months. But one thing has not changed, and that's the threat of climate change still hangs over our heads. And the science on global warming is still saying the same thing. We need to move to 100% clean energy, and we need to do it quickly. Now, there are many tools in our toolbox of clean energy, from offshore wind to geothermal to long duration storage. And as great as any of these technologies can be, there's really no doubt that distributed rooftop solar and storage has been a central part of the clean energy revolution in California and across the country. And today, our report, Shining Cities 2020, really highlights the roles that cities have played in making rooftops solar so powerful here in the state and across the country. And let me just give you one example from our report. Of the 57 cities that we looked at in 2013, only 8 of them had more than 50 watts of solar PV per person. So if you just think about that, more than 50 watts, not megawatts, but watts of solar PV per person. And now that number is up to 26. And that's really done because the leadership of the different cities around the state and all over the country have really put their shoulders into this policy and have helped to create strong policies at the local level that have really accelerated the installation of rooftop solar in all of their cities. And I really want to get to our three panelists, and I apologize for the delay and the glitches in Zoom. And so I'm going to read through our two top 10 lists, which I think is really some of the most exciting parts of the report, but then ask our panelists to each go into what's coming up when it comes to solar. So the two parts of our report, we look at the amount of solar installed per capita, and we looked at just the total number of megawatts installed. And in both of these categories, California cities really do a tremendous job. So let me read through in late night with David Letterman style fashion, the top 10 per capita cities for solar based on our Shining Cities 2020 report. So coming in at number 10 is Denver, Colorado. Coming in at number 9, the first California city is Riverside, California. Number 8, Phoenix. Number 7, Las Vegas. Number 6, San Antonio. Number 5 is going to be Burlington, Vermont, a small city up north. Number 4, another California city, San Jose. Number 3, Albuquerque. Number 2 is San Diego. And the number 1 city in the country per capita of those that we surveyed, Honolulu, Hawaii. Next, I want to just go through a top 10 list for the total installed solar in the country based on the cities that we surveyed. Number 10, Las Vegas. Number 9, Indianapolis. Number 8, Albuquerque. Number 7, San Jose. Number 6, New York. Number 5, San Antonio. Number 4, Phoenix. Number 3, Honolulu. Number 2, again, San Diego. And the number 1 solar city for total installed solar photovoltaic for 2020, a round of applause for Los Angeles, California. And Los Angeles has led our report every year except in 2016 when San Diego took the lead. And since 2016, Los Angeles has added more than 215 megawatts of solar capacity. So congratulations to the city of Los Angeles, congratulations to the city council, congratulations to Mayor Eric Garcetti, who has really been a champion on clean energy and on solar installation. And thank you all very much. I now want to turn it over to the chair of the Energy Commission and have Mr. Hochschild talk about what's next when we're thinking about and talking about clean energy and distributed rooftop solar and storage in California. Mr. Chairman, you've been a real champion of this issue, not only of the Million Solar Homes campaign, but even just most recently at the California Energy Commission, ensuring that all new homes have solar panels built on them starting this year. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your patience. And I was hoping you could take the reins now and talk a little bit about what's next at the Energy Commission.
Great. Well, thank you, Dan. And let me just acknowledge the incredible work that Environment California has played in Environment America on the seed planting for all the policies that make this possible, as well as the incredible long-standing work of the California Solar and Storage Association, now led by Bernadette, and Senator Pavley as well, who's the queen of green, and without whom we wouldn't have the climate law that we do in California. So just by way of introduction, we are going in California to 100% clean energy future. 14 states in the country are now doing that. 10 have adopted that legislatively, 4 through executive action. And today in California, we are at 63% carbon-free electricity. We don't count large hydro as a renewable resource under our law as it's currently defined, or nuclear, obviously. But you add all those carbon-free resources, we're at 63%. That alone is an enormous step forward. The fact that we're really almost 2/3 of our electricity today is carbon-free and heading towards 100%. But when you break down the renewables numbers, you see that we've reached this incredible point where the single largest renewable energy resource in California is solar. And we need all of these renewable energy technologies to grow and to thrive. And I think about it sort of as like raising kids in a family, and some are still in the house and need a little more tutoring and support, and others are launched out of the house and off to college and into the world. And solar has really gotten launched. It's been incredibly exciting to see. But there are these unique benefits that solar technology has that no other technology possesses. You know, something that, you know, in addition to creating no pollution and no emissions, it creates no noise. And in case of rooftop solar, it has no moving parts. It's at the point of use. It's modular. You can do solar on a storage shed. You can do it in a home. You can do it in a commercial building. You can do it on an industrial building. And as you look ahead at where we're going with energy storage and the radical price reductions happening there, which mirror very much what's happened with solar, you know, lithium-ion batteries have gone down in price 90% in the last decade, and will continue that trend. And the potential here to couple with solar and help build this energy resilience that we need as we move to 100% clean energy future is really exciting. So next slide. I just want to point out on cost, okay? Actually, Bernadette and I and Dan got into the solar movement roughly around the same time, about 20 years ago. And at that time, utility scale solar was 50 cents a kilowatt hour. We're now down to in the neighborhood of 2 cents a kilowatt hour. And my view going forward is both solar and wind, we will ultimately get to 1 cent a kilowatt hour. But in California today, both solar and wind are cheaper than combined cycle natural gas, and solar is the cheapest of all, just for context. Okay, next slide. As Dan noted, we hit 1 million solar roofs last year. This is something that was regarded as mythology at the time the policies were first introduced, and now in California we've done that, and we're really proud of that milestone, and lots more to go. In addition to that, we adopted a code. So my agency, the California Energy Commission, is a 700-person agency based in Sacramento. We set a lot of the energy codes. We fund a lot of the research and development. We adopted a mandate making solar standard on all new homes in California. We build roughly 100,000 homes a year in California. So the home of the future is a solar home. Next slide. And then I just want to close with a few comments around microgrids, because this is something the cities are doing. We have funded over 40 solar microgrids around California. These are coupled with energy storage. And there's as an example, the picture you're looking at is for a Native American tribe called the Blue Lake Rancheria tribe, which is up in Humboldt in the northern part of the state. And they have a first aid clinic. They're in a place where their grid is vulnerable to shut down, particularly in the event of fires. And so we gave a $5 million grant for the solar battery microgrid so that that first aid clinic could keep its power on in the event of a fire causing a blackout. And in fact, there was a fire. It did cause a blackout, and they didn't notice because the solar microgrid performed. And so as we build a more resilient and cleaner future, I think solar microgrids have a great future. And we're, you know, lithium ion's been the dominant technology, I think has a very bright future, but we're also investing in a bunch of other chemistries, iron, chromium, and vanadium, and so forth, as storage technology moves forward. So I would just say, I think the future is very bright. We need rooftop solar. We need all these renewables to make it happen. And I really appreciate Environment California doing this sort of snapshot of where you know, all the cities stack up against each other. And hopefully, as Bernadette said, we have a race to the top. Thanks.
Well, thank you very, very much, Mr. Chairman. I was hoping you wouldn't date us in saying that we were going back 20 years, but yeah, it has been about that. And next, I want to introduce Senator Fran Pavley, who has been a real champion on not just clean energy issues and climate change, but on environmental issues as a whole. While in the legislature, she carried some of the most important bills that'll help promote clean energy and stave off the worst impacts of climate change. And now at the Schwarzenegger Institute, she's continuing her great work. So let me hand it over to Senator Fran Pavley.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you for including me. And yes, I was around 20 years ago with all of you, and we haven't aged a bit. But when you think about it, look how much has been accomplished in the last 20 years. I mean, it's really quite amazing. So congratulations to you, Dan, and Environment California for your 7th annual solar energy report. Shining Cities 2020. Congratulations to Honolulu on the per capita #1. And just to brag, as a native Angelina, Los Angeles as #1 in total wattage. So great accomplishments. And it's all over the country. That's what I like the best. You know, yeah, hardly a state, if you look at your maps, does not have someone who is moving forward on renewable energy and particularly solar. Well, I was in the legislature, and I'll admit to this, in 2001, during the energy deregulation crisis. And just a little bit of history, because I'm a former history teacher. In 2002, the first RPS bill passed. We didn't have one. That was by Senator Byron Scheer. Most of you probably remember that very well. It was very controversial. The cost, and David Hochschild alluded to it, was so high. They said it'd be too expensive. The utility company said we can't do that. Well, it passed. It was a close vote. It was signed into law, and it was sort of in response to the energy deregulation crisis. Out-of-state energy companies were manipulating our energy supply and the prices. And it just made sense to have potentially in-state energy in California with local people doing the work to help us sort of, if you will, reduce the volatility of where we get our energy from. Later on, several years later, it was 2011 when Senator Simitian passed legislation to raise the RPS to 33% by 2020. It matched sort of the goals of AB 32. It was perfect. Then Senator De Leon, to give him a lot of credit for this, he could see that the success of our utility companies, they were doing well. They were all supporting an RPS. It sent a strong market signal. And the utility companies and the benefits that the consumers saw, as well as the environment, were noticed by Senator De Leon. So he helped pass legislation to increase the RPS to 50% by 2030. And more recently, he had authored legislation to increase it to 100% by 2045. I appreciate David's comments that we're up to 63%, including large-scale hydro. We've come a long way, so it is a chance to celebrate these accomplishments. It was good, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, it was good for the economy and the environment, and that's the goal. In 2005, speaking of Governor Schwarzenegger, he issued an executive order to direct the PUC to install 1 million solar roofs. Sounded like a great idea, but who could do that? Well, rooftop solar, in addition to utility scale solar, was now getting some traction. Senator Murray followed up with SB 1 that put the 1 million solar roof order into statute. The 1 million solar roof proposal helped create a market for photovoltaics, which helped dramatically drop prices. And with it came creative, affordable financing programs for average homeowners and businesses and schools and local agencies. Many consumers could show that they were saving money on their utility bills. The multiple benefits of local job creation, reducing air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions made this a very popular program. I was delighted to be invited by you, Dan, and others to be included in last year's 1 million solar roof celebration at a high school in Clovis, California. That's right outside Fresno. Governor Schwarzenegger was there, Senator Murray, Governor Brown, advocates, students, school district personnel, all there to celebrate and say, yes, we did it. Several CEOs of California solar companies have told me over the last 10 years or so that we are in California because of California's policies, not in spite of them. It was a very clear statement. I remember it was Tom Werner who first told me that with SunPower. And he told me those market signals do matter. They made a difference. Solar has played an important role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and helped us reach our clean energy goals. We met our 20% reduction target in AB 32 prior to 2020, and part of that was because of renewable energy, particularly solar being successful and the prices going down. CARB, the CEC, PUC, and local governments are now all working toward the 40% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions required in SB 32. One of the reasons I'm such a champion in all that you do is I live in the Santa Monica Mountains. And like the hundreds of thousands of homeowners in our region, we have seen a dramatic increase in the impacts of climate change. Something I didn't think I'd see in my lifetime. We have seen evidence of extended periods of drought, volatile snowpacks, higher temperatures, and increased amounts of wildfires fueled by erratic wind patterns that are unpredictable. There's no such thing as a fire season anymore. It's now year-round. Power shutoffs have created uncertainty in the lives of homeowners. They've often closed our schools. They require budget increases for more emergency personnel and equipment. Unfortunately, too many homeowners, schools, retirement homes, hospitals, and businesses have been purchasing diesel-powered generators that cause harmful localized air pollution. We should not be giving out grants to facilitate that. Building resiliency in our local communities is of critical importance. Distributed generation and battery storage, coupled with solar, will help us adapt to the impacts of climate change and protect our families and communities. I'm a strong supporter of our next big campaign, that's 1 million solar batteries. So thanks again for allowing me to share this press conference with you.
Well, thank you so much, Senator Pavley, and I think that really tees it up perfectly for Bernadette Del Chiaro, the Executive Director of the California Solar and Storage Association. More than that, obviously Bernadette was the main architect of the California Million Solar Roofs initiative and all the work that went into making that a reality. And as California figures out what comes next, she'll be one of the main players to help us ensure that California can continue to move forward with clean energy, continue to meet our climate goals, and continue to build in a more resilient fashion. So let me say thank you to Bernadette for starting this meeting while I was having our glitches on Zoom, and turn it over for you for a few words about what's next and what insights do you have for us on rooftop solar and storage.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan. It's a pleasure to be on this event with Commission President Hochschild and Senator Pavley and yourself, and just to celebrate the work that we all have collectively done over the years to promote clean energy. Let me show a couple of slides here. Let's see if I can share my computer. Okay. So I just grabbed page 46 from your report released today, Dan, that just shows where you call out the top 9 cities here in California. Just to make one quick point, which is while Los Angeles and San Diego deserve a lot of credit for really embracing the vast amount of sunshine to help cover their vast amounts of energy needs, and they're really just getting started on that front. We actually are seeing solar energy embraced throughout California. It is not just a coastal technology or clean energy solution. As Senator Pavley mentioned, when we celebrated hitting the million solar roofs mark with Governor Schwarzenegger and Governor Brown, we held it in Clovis, California at a high school. And Clovis, not on this list, but is also one of the cities with the largest amounts of solar. One of my favorite facts is, Clovis has more solar energy than Berkeley. And Fresno, as you can see here, has more than San Francisco. And so I think this is important just because it illustrates the sort of diversity of California consumers, from school districts to water treatment facilities to police stations and hospitals to homeowners. of how many different types of people and consumers are embracing clean energy as a way to help clean the air, as well as save money and create energy resiliency. So all really important goals. And I appreciate you guys highlighting just the diversity of the market here in California with this, this chart on page 46. Just a couple of quick slides. All of that solar that we are installing every day here in California, and just as a background, I should say, I'm the executive director of the California Solar and Storage Association. We are California's oldest and largest clean energy business organization. We represent over 550 businesses building solar energy and energy storage systems throughout the state of California. And we employ, well, prior to COVID, we employed 74,000 people. That's more than the state's 5 largest utilities combined, and makes us #1 in the country for solar employment. I recently saw a statistic that our solar jobs represent 1 out of every roughly 300 employees in California. So 1 out of 300 workers in California work for the solar industry. So we are a source of economic opportunity and development. And as Commissioner Hochschild mentioned, the modularity of the technology, the fact that it can kind of fit into small spaces, and really just wherever there's sunshine, there is a potential and is a market for solar energy, means that these jobs are not just in the Bay Area, they're not just in Los Angeles, but they are in communities all throughout the state, including some of our hardest hit and most economically depressed regions in which it's hard to kind of spur economic development and job opportunities. Unfortunately, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just a little reality is that the COVID-19, of course, has hurt everybody, but it has, the solar industry has not been spared. We saw a 21% cut in jobs in just basically 1 month's time during the biggest impact of COVID, halfway through March, halfway through April. We are optimistic of our ability to rebuild, bring those folks back on board and get back to growing. But it hit us hard, and we're ready for this recovery. As I mentioned, people talk about, kind of shovel-ready projects. How can policymakers and governments put people back to work safely and in a way that builds the kind of future we want for ourselves? And I think 2 statistics are really quite amazing, and that is every hour, 20 homes go solar in California. So when you think about, how do we put people back to work quickly and efficiently and right away, solar is a place to look. And every month, 200 farms or schools or fire stations or businesses, basically non-residential properties and projects go solar every month. It's just a phenomenal amount of economic opportunity is contained within the solar and storage industry. And we're seeing about a 10 to 25% what we call attachment rate. So about 10 to 25% of those homes and those farms are adding a battery. Of course, we would like to get that up to 100% so we can make the sun shine at night and help the state realize not only its clean energy goals, but help consumers have reliable electricity when electricity supplies are disrupted, whether that's because of fires, high wind events and prevention of fires, or California has no shortage of disasters, earthquakes, floods, you name it. Electricity is an essential service and resiliency that's brought by clean energy solutions that include batteries are really important. So we just real quickly put together an 8-point plan to really push and sort of supercharge our economy around clean energy and bring about job and economic opportunity right away, not waiting years and years, but literally this summer, this fall, we can be putting people to work and saving consumers money and creating a more resilient community. So just real briefly, and this list is on our website, www.calsa.org. We are advocating for the launching of a million, that should be a million solar charged batteries initiative in California, very similar to the Million Solar Roofs initiative that was launched very successfully about 15 years ago. And there you can see a couple of bullet points there of some specific concrete initiatives within that overarching goal. In essence, this is a private-public partnership in building clean energy, and it involves consumers making wise choices instead of investing in fossil fuel technologies. We really want consumers of all stripes and sizes to be investing in clean energy like solar and storage. And then the second piece is cutting red tape, create efficiency in government, and help us lower those costs so that those prices that Commissioner Hochschild mentioned when he was speaking, we can get those down even lower. The lower we make the cost of going solar, the more people can afford it, and the more benefits can be shared amongst all Californians. So with that, Dan, I'll put it back to you.
Well, thank you very much. And let me thank all of our panelists for their time today and for helping us to release the Shining Cities report. If anybody wants to download or take a look at the full report, they can do it at our several websites. environmentcalifornia.org and environmentamerica.org are the two places where you can get the national report. The California report has the information that Bernadette was listing about the California cities. And of course, I want to create an opportunity if there's any reporters on the line. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to read out my cell phone number, and you can text me, and we'll be able to get you to any of our panelists or to be able to answer with any follow-up questions that you have. So again, my name is Dan Jacobson, and my cell phone number is 916-743-5356. And I'll take this minute just to say thank you to the chairman, thank you to Senator Pavley, and thank you to Bernadette, all for coming on today and helping us to release this report. And I think that concludes our presentation unless there's any closing remarks from any of our panelists. In that case, thanks again, and here's to a fantastic 2020 and a great report coming out next year. Thank
Thanks,
you all.
Dan.
Thank
All right.
you.